My name's Dylan and this is my 2012 GT86.
Let's go.
Hey man.
Hey man, let's go. Is this your first time in an 86 or?
Yeah, so this is a 2012. Now, I want to call it a GT86, is that right?
Yes, it's a GT86.
Excellent. So yes, this is my first time in a GT86. Now, I have to say very early in the piece, these are one of my cars on my top 10 list.
They are amazing.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll tell you shortly. I'm a huge fan of these. I really like the style, the curb, the balance, the handling over power. That's my jam. That's what I'm up to.
And the engine's just at the right height. So
Yes.
you get really nice handling wherever you go, like whenever you're taking a corner or anything like that.
Yes.
It's just very...
The engine is
Very
an
nice.
FA20.
FA20 DIT, I think is what they call it.
FA20 what, sorry?
DIT, D-I-T.
Ah, and that's the Toyota injection, isn't it? The DIT.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And so they, out of the box, what should this have?
They say 200,
Yep.
but they don't say very clearly what the 200 actually is. So I figured it out, it's 200 at the crank.
Yeah, but that's normal. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
so-
most cars are.
We're looking at around 170 to the wheel.
Yep. And you've got this, you were saying, to
So at the moment it's 191
at the wheel.
at the wheel.
Yeah. So there, that's 220, 230 at the crank by my
Around,
brain.
yeah.
Yeah. And is that notable? Like,
Oh yeah.
yep.
So I mean the stock ones, they've got quite a noticeable, the manual stock ones have quite a noticeable torque dip.
Yes.
So at about 3,000 RPM, the engine just kills itself pretty much.
Really?
You don't get any power out of it. You can put your foot down and it just struggles.
Is it like the Valley of Death in a twin turbo?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
And I mean with removing the headers.
Yes.
And doing muffler delete,
Yes.
you can kind of curb it a little bit more.
Okay.
But the final thing is doing a full tune on it.
Okay.
And once it's tuned, you're able to just straight up.
So has this got a factory computer?
Yes.
Ah, so
Yep.
the factory computer's a tunable.
All factory, but it has an Ecotech. So it has a license,
Yes.
which is loaded onto the ECU.
Okay.
And then you can pretty much tune it how you would a Link or a,
Okay,
you know, a Haltech or anything like that.
And then you let the boys at Top Tune help you out.
Yeah,
Yep.
Which they
Ross
did.
and Brooke are awesome, mate.
They are, and they did an amazing job
They
on
are. My Starlet, since I got it back from them, holy crap, man. Like Ross said, what do you want? I said, I want it to be nice and modern. That's what I wanted. I didn't want power. I wanted to be smooth in the transitions and nice to drive. And bro, that Starlet is like driving a modern car.
Yeah.
With the transitions and stuff, it's somewhat noisier, rattlier, and shakes everywhere. But other than that, it's the same.
That's the fun part.
Yeah.
You're
doing.
The good thing is they're like cheap,
Yes.
and they are coming down in price. I
Yep.
mean, I've probably seen the market in the last year and
They
a
should
half.
be about bottom now, aren't they?
I'm still seeing drops. Like the lowest I've seen is about 15 grand.
Okay, yeah.
And that
when I
was-
was last looking, they were 22 and holding solid.
Yeah.
And the new model hadn't come out. That would have made an impact.
The new, funny enough, if anything, the value raised on these.
That's awesome.
Because they stopped making them.
Yep.
And the new ones aren't as customizable as these.
Okay, yep.
Like, ever since I bought it and the people I've talked to, I've just called it a Lego car. Because it's so easy to pull apart and put back together.
Yep.
Apart from the wiring's a bit of a mess, but
Yep.
everything about it is just nice and easy, and they don't overcomplicate things.
Yep.
Turn the fun button on.
That feels great.
it's a slow car and it's
Yep.
you know it's no good, and they'll just engine swap it straight away.
Yep.
But I've had the car for 4 years now, coming up on 4 years.
Yep.
And I mean, I've got it to this point, I'm loving it.
Yep.
But it's only because I wanted more power out of it, and the bolt-ons for these engines are super expensive.
Yep.
And it's just unaffordable.
Yep.
Like I had a friend who had one up in Auckland, and he turboed it. 3 months later, he was having to buy a whole forged engine.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So a little bit disappointing that they didn't, with the newer model, do it in a turbo or a supercharged.
Yep.
Because people really wanted that. But
The problem is though, you do that and it jumps up a price bracket.
Well,
and then it's up with the 400R, which is what the Supra is.
that's exactly it.
It's not its job to be a turbo.
And I mean, everyone complains, oh, it needs a turbo. I mean, I don't think it does.
Yeah.
The stock engine is very, in my opinion, is a good engine.
Yep. Once again, I'm shorter than you. There's a drink bottle there.
Oh yeah, it's my emergency water. My second time in the passenger seat.
2012 Toyota GT86. Yeah, this is a long time coming, man. How long have these been out? This isn't the first model, isn't it?
This is the very first one, so this came out
Okay,
2012.
so it's been 12 years I've known about these cars and never driven one. Oh yeah, it does exactly what I thought it would. Oh, I see what you mean. Wow. It was just, it did it effortlessly, eh?
Yeah.
It just does it. Oh, yes. And it feels real tight.
It is, yeah.
Is it 5 or 6?
6.
Oh, that's cool.
So I think 6 is more my cruising gear.
Yeah, it's economy gear.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, I'm in what, 5th now, eh?
Yeah.
Am I 5th or? Nah, surely I was on 4th, 3rd. Yeah, I was on 3rd. No, it wasn't. I was on 5th.
It's a very,
Yeah,
very small pattern.
yeah, close gate. Yeah, man, this is fun.
Yeah.
It feels exactly like it should. It's a lot more sure-footed than I thought it would be.
And it took a lot of work to get it to that.
Okay, yep.
But the work that, I mean, it was headers, and I messed around with like a cold air intake. I messed around with a lot of different bolt-ons to
Yep.
try and get it right.
Yep.
But in the end, I just ended up going headers only, keeping the stock intake and just running it straight through without a muffler.
Yep.
And then the good thing is when you're, you know, just driving on the road, it doesn't blow your eardrums out.
Yep.
So it's good to have where it's not like crazy, but it's also when you want it to be crazy, it can be.
See, it's slightly too loud for me, but I'm just an old man now.
Well, I'd say the only reason is because there's no back seats.
Oh, do you normally run a back seat?
I've got back seats, yeah, but I've been doing some measurements to get roll cage put in.
Okay, yep.
So a half roll cage.
Yep.
Because I want to do bucket seats and have the 5-point harnesses on it.
Yep. It's so good in the high and the revs, eh?
Yeah,
Like it loves that above 6 grand.
yeah. The optimal place I change it at is about 72.
Yep. I'd almost want it to go then.
You might find it's a little bit slippery at the moment because the back tyres aren't in tip top.
Okay.
I've done a few burnouts and silly stuff,
That's
and the tyre tread's right down.
It felt like it wanted to jump then.
Yeah.
It was like right on that point.
I've got two new tyres on order, but
Nice.
Michelin have decided to stop manufacturing the tyre.
What do you run, a Pilot Sport 4 on it or something?
Yeah. Yep.
Jesus Christ, bro.
Yep.
That's quite intense on an 86.
Yeah, and it's the best rated tyre for this car.
Cool.
Yep. I mean, the thing was is when I was building it, I wanted it to go fast, but I also wanted it to be safe at the same time.
Yep.
So, you know, I've gone through all the brakes. They've all got like Super Dot 4. They're running upgraded brake lines, so it's all braided brake lines. And then I've got racing brakes on it.
Do they need to warm up at all, or are they good cars?
Yeah, they definitely need to warm up.
Yeah. But not too bad for daily duties, obviously.
Yeah, you get a bit of squealing,
Oh, that's fine.
but it doesn't
It's a
concern me
race
in the
car, bro.
slightest.
That's
Yeah.
life. Because it is your daily, right?
Yeah, it is my daily, yep.
Let's do a U and go back that way,
Yeah,
Because
sweet.
that was a cool road. Cock that up. Oh, fuck, where's reverse?
Yeah, up and then there you go. Bit of an oddball one. Everyone that drives it for the first time, they always go, "Where's reverse?"
Yeah, I was like, hang on, that's 6th. Why a GT86?
Back in 2019, I saw the cars and I didn't know what they were.
Yep.
Didn't really take notice of them until I was driving down the motorway in Auckland, and lo and behold, there was one driving down the motorway. And I thought when I first saw it that they were like the 350s where they had no back seats.
Okay, yep.
And I thought they were just like a two-door sports car.
Yep.
And, you know, 2 seats. And I thought, fuck, that's really cool. And then I found out, no, it's actually got 4 seats. And I was like, that's even better because then I can fit more people back there.
Absolutely.
And then it was COVID. COVID happened, and I had already test drove 2 or 3 of them.
Yep.
And then at the start of 2 days after the COVID lockdown, the Toyota rep calls me.
Mid-March.
Yeah, mid-March. Yep. The Toyota rep called me and he goes, "I've got the car.
Yep.
You need to come down and have a look." And I saw them taking it off the truck.
Yep.
And then he just said, "Here's the keys."
And that was this?
And that was this. Yep.
Did it have these?
No.
Okay, because these are probably my favourite thing with your car, as weird as that sounds.
Yeah, no, so it didn't have a spoiler, it didn't have that.
Okay.
It had the body kit and the rims,
Mhm.
but I have added a few things, and especially the spoiler, it needed one. It just felt bare at the back.
Yep.
But then, I took it for a drive, and I got about 50 metres to 100 metres up the road. I straight away turned around and went back and said, "Yep, I'll take it."
That's awesome.
So,
So, what's your favourite mod on the car? Just one.
Mine's the headers.
Yep.
The sound that it created. I
Yes.
remember that first day. It was the day after Christmas Day.
Yep.
And I had got the headers from Possumborn Motorsports.
Yep.
Got them sent down. They were just sitting there. I hadn't built the courage up to actually get under there and pull them apart. And
Yep.
then my stepdad came around and we did it together.
Yep.
And I remember that start was just the sound of it. I was just like, "This is perfect."
Yep.
It's everything I imagined it would be.
Yep. And you did the exhaust after that, or?
Yeah, and then I did the muffler after. So because it was a Tom's car, it had a Tom's muffler.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it was quite interesting because the car didn't come stock,
Yep.
but I've compared it to a lot of stock cars, and what Tom's did to this car, I'm still finding things to this day.
Yep. Okay.
They had like throttle controller.
Oh, okay. So Tom's really had a good play with it.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
and doing more digging, we actually found out that this car might have been in the Nürburgring.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Is this a Tom's preparation car, or is it a car that someone in Japan likes Tom's?
See, I have a feeling because the car didn't come from Japan.
Okay.
I went through the process of talking to Toyota, trying to find out the service records or anything for it that I could.
Yep.
And they searched Japan. They said there's nothing from Japan, and I'm like, well, where else could it have come from? And they're like, well, there's 3 other places. It's either the UK, Germany, or America. And they're like, we can rule out America because America doesn't have
Right-hand drive.
Right-hand drive.
Yep.
So they went to Germany, and lo and behold, the VIN popped up, and boom, the service records came up. And so I don't know if it's I don't know if they used it as a Tom's press car or something, but the ECU had the name of the tune was GRMN GRMN 86.
That's Gremlin.
Yeah, and I did a bit of research on it and found out it was a Gazoo Racing Nürburgring, and I was
Gazoo Racing that's the GRMN.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Like, so I couldn't find any more out about the car after that because they can't give you the owner's details and all of that sort of stuff. But I kind of just pieced a few things together and thought maybe it's come from there and maybe they used it on the Nürburgring.
It's crazy that a Japanese car came here via Germany. Like, it's so out there.
Yeah, and I mean they've done full through the car. It's all got like support bracing and everything through the whole car.
Okay.
So in the boot, in the front, all under the whole underside. So they definitely used it for racing.
Yep. Which it felt tight. Like I said to you, it's one of the first things I said. It just feels so tight. Like you turn and it's already there before you even think about it.
And it's something special. And I mean I've drove other 86s and none of them feel like it.
Yeah.
It's kind of unique in its own way, which I quite like.
Yeah.
And I mean it had the Lexus style muffler on it. So it had the stacked exhausts, kind of on the 45.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So it had that. I've still got that in the garage, but it just weighs too much and it just kind of muffles the sound too much.
Yep.
So we had I had got a stock muffler and cut that open, cut everything out of the middle of it, and welded it back up.
Yep.
But it still didn't pique my fancy until I cut the back end of it out, and that's where the sound is how it is now.
Yep.
Especially with those headers, they're just stainless steel.
Yep.
Straight out of the engine. That's just
love
perfect.
it. You love it. I can see your face.
Yeah.
What's your best piece of advice to you when you bought this car?
Don't do it again.
Really?
Yeah, I would buy another one.
Another 86?
Yeah, but I mean, when I purchased it, I was just an idiot. I was young. I didn't have the money.
Yep.
I kind of just went, oh, I'm going to buy that, and bought it on a whim.
Yep.
You know, it put me in a bit of financial trouble, but I loved it.
Yeah.
That was the main
thing.
thing.
We were young and dumb. That's what you do, right?
Yeah.
You have plenty of money for when you're an adult.
I remember, like, my partner, we had been together probably 4 or 5 months at that point, you know, and COVID had happened.
Yep.
And she got sick of me talking about them. She was like, just shut up, I don't want to hear about it. And then...
Sounds like my wife. Normally it's, shut up, I don't want to hear about it, go and just buy one.
Yeah. So that's the funny part, is I called her one day and I'm like, yeah, I bought an 86. And she was like, hey, the one from the warehouse. And I'm like, what? And she's like, you were looking at the little toy model from the warehouse. And I'm like, no, I actually bought one. And she's like, you're taking the piss. Don't take the piss. Then we took a drive one day and I took her past Toyota and I said, see that? That's mine. Cool. Because it sat at Toyota for about 5 to 7 days, I think, before I actually took delivery of it.
The PDRs and all that,
Yeah. So, and I mean, it had just come off the truck pretty much the day before, so... But, I mean, I got it for a good deal.
Yep.
And
I already know the answer to this question, and this is loaded as heck. What's next with the car?
Oh, that is a loaded question. So it is going to be the engine swap for a K24 out of a Honda Odyssey.
Yep. And you're not just pulling the motor out and plonking it in, are you?
No. So it was a funny story how it actually all came to be, because we were looking at engine swapping. You know, we looked at every engine possible.
Yep.
And I couldn't find an engine that was light and gave it that same sort of centre of gravity, and that's what I was after.
Yep.
So we looked at a 2J, and you know, they're massive,
they're
heavy,
huge, and they're really tall.
Yeah, they fit in these, funny enough.
Yeah, of course, but they're tall.
But that was the problem.
Don't you have to remove the firewall to fit them in?
I think you have to fold it back
and
bend it all back. Yeah. So the 2J was off. I didn't want to do that because of course at the time I think a 2J's just engine long block was 15 grand.
It's mental, way.
Yeah, and then we did some like...
You used to be able to get a Supra for 4.
Yeah, and now I'm like, I looked at a 2JZ GE.
Yep.
But even then I was still umming and ahhing about it because I wanted the GTE. Well,
you got to add the oil squirters, you got to decompress it. There's a whole lot to do.
And I didn't want to do any of that. And then we went to a race day, and my friend Nathan, funny enough, he was like, there was this Honda there. It was a Civic. It was a full race car, and he said, why don't you K-swap it? And I'm like, what the hell's a K-swap? Like, I've never heard of that. Like, you know, and then the guy took me out for a little bit of a run in the Honda, and we had a little bit of fun, and then I thought, fuck, this is wicked, because he was blowing past all the Porsches, you know, the GT3 Cup cars, and I'm like, I asked him, I said, what's in these? Like, K24, and I'm like, ooh. And then we saw a K24 on Trade Me for $500, and I'm like, buy. I literally bought it on the spot, and got it shipped down.
Our last Honda Odyssey, I sold for $1,000.
Yeah.
I was this close to not selling it because it's $1,000 motor sitting there.
Yeah.
That's what my brain did.
And I mean, like the K24 that I've got now, it's going through full rebuild.
Yep.
So that's everything from right to the bottom. I mean, it's stripped into 1,000 pieces at the moment.
Because you're going turbo, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so what sort of power are you hunting?
About 800 wheel.
Yep.
Is what I'd like.
Yep.
I mean, it's achievable, but I mean, if I have to play it safe and down tune it to 650 to 750,
Even just to get your head around it, even.
yeah,
to start with,
because I mean, it's going to be the first car that I've had that's turboed.
Yep.
So I've never had a turbo car before. I've been in turbo cars and
Yep.
supercharged and all that.
Yep.
But I mean, from my friends, they've said that when you get a turbo car, it's like learning how to drive again.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's definitely different.
So
It's so much fun.
yeah, well,
It's just, I love the roll off. Like, so when you rev your car, the more input you give, the more power you get.
Yep.
With the turbo, as the boost creeps, you can actually roll the throttle off and it still accelerates.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know how to explain it, but it's cool.
that's the sort of stuff I want to experience.
Yep.
Because I mean, I've experienced them before, but there's nothing like being behind the wheel every day.
Oh, it's yours.
And just learning those
Yeah,
things
absolutely.
and having fun with it.
Well, that's one thing I've done about this channel. Like, I've driven, what am I up to now, like 20 different cars, but I haven't driven any of them. You know,
Yeah.
I've given them a go and but it'd be different if I got one for a week.
Yeah.
You know, that would be a different story altogether, and then you get to properly drive it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd quite be at your burnout level, but that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a bit of work learning how to do all that.
Yep.
I think I messed it up too many times.
Oh, it's still part of it.
Yeah, and
As I alluded to earlier, I've spent hours and hours and hours on the diesel in South Auckland, so I've had lots of practice also.
yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, it's been a bit of learning. I mean, especially coming from 1 litre Swift. I mean, as you can feel, there's no.
There's not a lot there.
There's not a lot. And I mean, those tyres have only been on 8 months.
Yep.
So, 8 months. You know, the $270 tyres.
Yep.
It's they've lasted a very short time.
They have. Cool, man. Well, thanks for letting me drive your car.
Yeah, no,
Hey,
that's
heaps
right.
of fun.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
It is going to stay on my list. It just, I know some people don't get it and they think that they're not powerful enough or whatever, but I'm not that guy. I don't want to go and be the fastest out there.
Yeah.
I want to go and enjoy hitting a back road. And
Yeah.
to me, I know you're doing this big power swap thing, and assumably you're going to let me drive it. I hope so.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I'm keen as. It'll be a great follow-up video.
That's why I'm doing it, because it's not just about me having a high-powered car and, you know, being able to rip past anything. It's enjoying it with other people, because
Yep.
that's where the enjoyment comes out of
That's
it.
what
you know?
cars is for me.
And people see it and they go, holy shit, that's something I've never seen before. And
Yep.
it's like, you know, you get interested, you get talking, and that's sort of where, that's why I want to do it.
Yep.
It's not for just having a fast car.
Cool, man. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to leave one of them on my list. Thanks, man.